forward in time to view alternate futures, to see all the possible outcomes of the coming conflict.
How many did you see?
14,605,000.
How many did we win?
One.
If you're competitive or an aspiring player who wants to improve their game, map awareness is one of the best things you can improve upon. With the help of a few key indicators, you can build a model and predictions of how enemy teams are going to move depending on the current situation of the game. You're basically making deductions affecting how you position yourself and how you approach a gunfight. I'm Keith and I stream on Trovo and on YouTube. Make sure you follow me and turn on notifications so you never miss a stream. If you want more of this type of content, help us reach 2,000 likes for today's video. For our first indicator, it's the minimap. I have covered this one in my other videos already, but this is a basic indicator that we always need to be aware of. The minimap indicates enemy position by displaying a red dot whenever they fire, or when you use score streaks such as UAV and advanced UAV. Enemy score streaks will also be visible, such as shield turrets, SAM turrets, sentry guns, shock RCs, and hunter-killer drones. It also shows you teammate positions, allowing you to fill other lanes in the map if ever a lane is too crowded, or if an area is being held by your teammates already. Not only that, you can turn your minimap into a big map by tapping on it once, showing you a full-size map on your screen so you can have an overhead view of whatever's currently happening in the game. The next one will involve site indicators. Examples of these are objective markers such as domination flags, hardpoints, and bomb sites. These things will help you determine where enemies might position themselves, or you can put yourself between the objectives and the enemy spawns. Teammate and enemy position in your screen are also a visual indicator in case things are moving fast and you don't have time to glance at the minimap. If you're watching this and you happen to be using wall hacks, you can add that as one of the visual indicators. You noob perks such as alert and high alert can add to your visual indicators, and it might be useful for you to avoid getting flanked. Death markers are also a good indicator because it gives you the knowledge that an enemy might be around, even if the enemy is using suppressed weapons. Sound is also an important indicator as it gives you a sense of where the enemies are at times when they don't show or you're not looking at the minimap. Enemy footsteps are the #1 indicator, especially in respawns where everyone will almost always be running around. One thing you can do to enhance your footsteps hearing ability is to go to audio and graphics settings, go to audio tab, and turn on the ambient volume. Grab your headphones and hear the difference. Here's max ambient volume, and this is 0 ambient volume. Weapon fire is also a good indicator, so you know when people are shooting you outside your point of view, giving you the ability to react and slide to cover. Other sounds generated by a player such as sliding, jumping, and mounting can and will be heard if you have good headphones. Of course, enemies can counter this by equipping dead silence and walk around the map forever, and that's where our other indicators come in. This is also one of the things I mentioned before, but there's more to kill feed that we sometimes forget to look at. It's that small feed on the corner of your screen that lets you know whenever someone gets killed. If you take some time to glance at the kill feed, you will know who exactly is dead or is alive for a game mode like S&D, and whoever killed who when it comes to respawn game modes. The information you get from the kill feed is one of the key indicators of when to push for objective. You can also see what guns your teammates and enemies are using, so you can anticipate where certain players might rush or watch map lanes. One of the things you could do alone or with your team if you have one is study the possible routes and flow of players in the map. That way you can make a strategy and figure out your positions, where you throw your grenades, and where to pre-aim in different game modes and in different maps. For the older maps in the game, you can find high-resolution images of the maps on hawksnest.gg, including all modes and more information on certain modes if available for that map. If you're trying to make strategies on new maps such as Hackney Yard and Shoot House, you can search for the images on the internet or take a screenshot of the map by opening your minimap in-game on a free-for-all pub match and you're good to go. Having this information is key, so you know which angles to take and corners to hide on to catch your enemies off guard. One of the things that's mostly asked is, how do you control or manipulate spawns? Good players have already figured this out on their own, and pro players continue to exploit this to their advantage. Spawn points are manipulated mostly by two important things. First one is player position, meaning where you and your team is positioned in the map and where the enemies are as well. For games like TDM, you're most likely to spawn near where most of your teammates are, and for hardpoint, you can manipulate the spawn points based on where your team is positioned. Pro players know exactly where to go in order to have these spawn points in their team's favor, trapping the enemy team to a disadvantage. Objective control also influences these spawns. Obviously for domination, you spawn wherever your home flag is, but there are nuances for maps such as standoff domination. Even if you only have A and you manage to step on the C flag, enemies will start spawning at gas. These nuances need to be studied and understood to help with your predictions. Comment spawns if you want a separate video on spawn manipulation. You know the map, you know where enemies might spawn. Now from that, you have to predict the path they're going to take to try to gain map control. And just know for most maps, there are lanes that enemies can take from their spawn. If you're playing passive, try to preempt all of those lanes by flicking or transferring your crosshair if no enemies are showing up from your predictions. Most players in rank that has a brain will be hyper-focused on the objective, and that is a clear indicator of where they might go. So take advantage of that and catch them off guard by preventing them to reach objective and gain map control in your own ways. If enemies aren't showing up on your predicted locations, there's a good chance that you're getting flanked, so look the other way around and protect your team. You have some predictions of where the enemy teams are and where they might go. Now you have to predict what they might do next. Are they going to just run out in the open? Are they going to throw nades at you? What they do entirely depends on how good their game sense is or how brain dead they are. That's why whenever you're doing solo ranked, play to improve your individual skills. Sure, you can play OBJ if your teammates are playing the right way, but most of the time, they're not. That's because most players don't really think about what the enemy team is doing. They just want to spam thermites, shoot enemies, activate their persistence acquired score streaks, and call it a day. What your enemies in-game do is based on what level they're thinking at. At times you can try to play it slow and assess enemies and teammates, then play accordingly. With all of that information, all you need to do is set yourself up for success. Knowing where enemies might show up and where they run to, you should put yourself in an optimal position and attack them with you having the advantage. Head glitches, slide peek, or jump peek, use anything in order to win the gunfight. You can also use all of this information to determine how and when to take the objective. It's now up to you on which position, which route, and which tactics to use. That will give you the chance to beat enemies that have better gun skill and annihilate enemies that are noobs. It's a lot, but this video is meant to show you that the game isn't all about movement and gun skill. Those two things will only take you so far. Good map awareness will accelerate your progress as a player and will help you in any FPS game you play. That's it for today's video. Make sure you hit the like button if you learned anything new, and share this to a friend that needs to improve their map awareness. This video is inspired and based by this post on the Black Ops 2 subreddit. This really helped me and I thought of sharing it to the COD Mobile community. For today's question, I wanna know, what's more frustrating? Getting beat by a new player or by a pro player? Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.